Meghan Markle just keeps taking L's. Honestly, I'm starting to feel bad for the girl. Maybe it's just because I'm a big Suits fan, so I have more sympathy than most because I really just see her as Rachel.
Take notes, I'm not gonna repeat myself.
But the amount of negative press this chick has continued to face is honestly comical at this point. And I only point this out because, again, she wanted that private life.
We want heaven.
And then proceeded to turn around and do just about every public thing she could possibly do. It started with the Oprah interview and then the Netflix doc, Harry's book, which bizarrely shared intimate details about his first sexual experiences, and then her failed Spotify podcast in which she got roasted for not actually being the one doing the interviewing. And then fast forward to more recently, and she started that American Riviera brand with expensive jams and jellies, a brand that she teased but still has not released. And then last month, Vanity Fair hit them with a scathing expose validating a lot of the bullying claims that had been stacking up against Meghan. Inside Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's big business ambitions 5 years after their royal exit. The article referred to them as startup founders in exile and was not the most flattering 50-minute long article to read, to put lightly. It was quite brutal, actually. I heard at one point they went into hiding after it because they were so sad. Around that same time, in early to mid-January, Netflix announced their new show with Meghan called With Love, Meghan. Here is a trailer for that, in case you missed it.
Let's go.
I've always loved taking something pretty ordinary and elevating it. Surprising people with moments that let them know I was really thinking of them.
What? This is probably
Mindy.
one of the most glamorous moments of my life.
Mindy being in full glam at this Airbnb rented house while they filmed this video.
Yeah.
Not manufactured at all.
This is about connecting with friends. I love that we're doing this together for the first time. Making new friends. That is so good.
We family now.
We're not in the pursuit of perfection.
We're not in the pursuit of perfection. Nothing about this looks imperfect. This is like a Pinterest board just threw up on this whole video, and it's fine, it's beautiful, it's objectively perfect, but like, we're not in the pursuit of perfection. Yes, you literally are.
Guy snoring.
I have no thoughts. It's just such a nothing burger of a show. Oh, another celebrity does like a little home cooking whatever show. Who hasn't done that? She's just making hummus though. Like that was literally a video of hummus and a fruit tray. Like I know how to make hummus in a fruit tray. So that's the show that's coming out soon. One person said, prefer to stare at a wall or listen to a baby crying for an hour. Out of respect for privacy they so desperately want, I will not be watching. Yeah, for some reason, they never disappeared. Just like your tax problems, which is why you need Tax Network USA. Remember that feeling when you see a text from someone you've been avoiding? That's how most people feel about their tax problems once tax season hits. Here's the thing about the IRS. They're the largest collection agency in the world, and they're not getting any more patient. Whether it's 10 grand or $10 million, that stress isn't going away on its own. But here's the good news. Nobody has to handle the problems alone. That's where Tax Network USA comes in. Their experts are like tax whisperers. They have a direct line to the IRS. They know exactly which agents to avoid and which ones to work with. They've already helped people resolve over $1 billion in tax debt. $1 billion. And the best part? Talking to their strategist is completely free. No strings attached. We all know that April 15th is coming up fast, so don't risk frozen accounts or property seizures. That's a whole other level of crazy stress that nobody needs. Make the smart move today. Call Tax Network USA at 1-800-958-1000 or visit tnusa.com/Conrad and talk to a strategist for completely free. Stop looking over your shoulder and take control of your future. Act now before the IRS acts first, because they are annoying. They never go away, just like Meghan. Link Loren also had thoughts which were hilarious as per usual, so I just wanted to share a few moments of those.
Will we ever know peace again? Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Scam-A-Lot, just dropped the trailer for her new Netflix show, and let me just say, it was one of the most out-of-touch things I've seen in a while. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, right now, the average salary for an American is $62,027 a year. Meghan Markle, she has more than that on her wrist and her hands while she's squeezing a lemon.
That line is so good. It's like, how do you best encapsulate why it feels out of touch or tone deaf? That's why.
I'm convinced at this point that Meghan Markle has absolutely no interest in interacting with working class Americans. The world is burning, and she's like, who wants to put together bouquets on my estate in Montecito? It's almost satire at this point. Meghan Markle, she's strolling around her own personal orchard in full hair and makeup with the camera crew. Meghan, you need to leave the compound and go talk to average Americans.
Now, to her credit, she did actually bump the release date for this new show after the fires struck LA. But overall, as Link pointed out, those who were unamused by the new show concept pointed out that it felt very elite and unrelatable. While average Americans can't afford groceries, let alone organic ones, or ones out of their own garden on an estate in Montecito. But also, apparently this was filmed at a different location, obviously. I don't think they'd film at her house for safety reasons. Maybe they could have gotten a house that felt a little more relatable since it was not her own. But instead, they chose whatever that is.
Not an estate.
Right. It looks like the set of like Bridgerton. It's just not.
Like a kitchen that could like comfortably fit like 50 people.
Right.
in it.
Like you could house the entire audience. Yeah. I mean, she's an ex-royal who lives in a $14 million mansion in Montecito with 14 fireplaces. Maybe I see why they didn't want to use her home after all. It's too big.
It's too big.
They had to scale down to like an also giant house. So I don't think anything she will ever do will actually feel relatable, nor do I think that it absolutely needs to be. People love aspirational content. It's very Martha Stewart-esque of her. But while I will not be tuning in, I don't care what show she does. Frankly, it's better to do some like feminine show than some like annoying girl boss political show. I mean, this is at least more sufferable than what it could be. But now, in latest news, she has scratched the American Riviera brand altogether and rebranded it to a new one called As Ever. And like always, problems immediately emerged with it. First of all, a brand called As Ever already exists. It's a small business in New York City who is now afraid of their name getting buried because of Markle's new move. Here's the brand, and they said, for all our As Ever customers and fans, please tag any of your social posts featuring As Ever New York City with hashtag As Ever and hashtag As Ever New York City to help prevent their work from getting buried in the current media storm. Small independent brands, As Ever, spread the word. Here's a video she just posted about the rebrand and why she did it.
It's recording.
Okay.
That was such an unnecessary handoff, but like, it's part of the aesthetic.
I'm still here.
I'm relatable.
Cat's out of the bag. I'm shocked we've kept this a secret for so long. In 2 weeks, my show's coming out, which I'm so excited for.
Can't wait.
And also my business, which I think there's been a lot of curiosity about.
That's because we have no idea what's going on with it. Like, it's one thing to tease a business like a month before it drops. It's another to tease it well over a year and have little influencer packets with your expensive $90 jams. And those influencers post those things, and then the jam never comes to fruition. Like, then the business just, nothing happens for like a year. Makes no sense. So yes, we're curious. Unfortunately, not in a good way.
I had thought, you know what, American Riviera, that sounds like such a great name. It's my neighborhood. It's a nickname for Santa Barbara. But it limited me to things that were just manufactured and grown in this area.
I feel like it wouldn't do that. Maybe I'm not Cali enough to know that that was even a nickname for Santa Barbara.
Even if it is, who cares?
That's what I'm like. I don't care. It's American. Honestly, it's patriotic. I'm like, yeah, cool. Made in America products, perhaps. It doesn't limit you. No, we don't all know that your fancy neighborhood actually has a nickname.
Netflix came on not just as my partner in the show, but as my partner in my business, which was huge.
Whoa. I mean, again, it's cute if like she didn't have the past that she has. Because I'd be like, yeah, well, that's cool. Girl, you were freaking a royal. Of course Netflix is going to work with you.
I thought about it, and I've been waiting for a moment to share a name that I had secured in 2022.
Like, she tried to drop that in. Like, don't worry, I secured this a few years ago. I bet As Ever NYC would still be like, yeah, we were here longer.
And it's called As Ever. As Ever essentially means as it's always been. And if you followed me since 2014 with the TIG, you know I've always loved cooking and crafting and gardening.
I didn't know what the TIG meant. I did look into it. She did have a blog back in the day that was very heavily lifestyle, fashion, beauty, brand type of stuff before she became a royal and when she was still a bit more of a relatable gal. She's leaning back in there.
I wanted you to hear it from me first. Of course, there will be fruit preserves. I think we're all clear at this point that jam is my jam.
I was just about to say, does she call them fruit preserves rather than jam? But I'm glad she did call it jam. It's a fancy way of talking about jam.
But there's so many more products that I just love that I use in my home. And now it's time to share it with you. So I can't wait for you to see it. Thanks, guys.
And then when you think that it couldn't get any worse with her rebrand, not only that a small business was mad at her for sharing the same name, but her new logo appears to be a ripoff of a small town emblem in Spain. And their mayor is very mad about it. Spanish mayor admits small town can't afford to sue Meghan Markle over as ever logo plagiarism, still a bit shocked. And the article went on to say, every town in Majorca has its own symbol or coat of arms, and it is very important for our identity, and people are upset that ours is being used to sell products like jam around the world, she said. I feel like this woman is just a Meghan Markle hater, and now she gets her time to shine. The truth is, although this has given our once unknown town some publicity in just a few hours, we don't like our coat of arms being used and we want them to pull the logo. I don't know if she visited some agritourism site and saw the coat of arms because the photo on her website is taken from Majorca. However, a source familiar with the situation told the Post the logo incorporates a palm tree as a nod to the Duke and Duchess's home in California, along with 2 hummingbirds, a favorite of Prince Harry's. So here's the as ever logo, and then here is the coat of arms in Majorca. Very similar.
Corporate needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture. They're the same picture.
Honestly, though, it must be tough when you have a global campaign of hate against you, because even if you got inspired by a crest, maybe somewhere in a small town in Spain you once visited, well, the Spaniards will find out and will come after you too. Here is her as ever website with the logo and all. It looks pretty. I have no beef. I would have never known that the Spaniards do have more beef. Never ends. It never ends. Honestly, for her sake, I hope that she makes a fantastic product. Something that her fans actually want, can afford, and will enjoy. And who knows, maybe in the end, she will drop the insufferable persona and actually lean into the more feminine, soft girl aesthetic, glorifying things like cooking and gardening and raising her babies. We need more of that. So even though it may come across as unattainable, and she seems to copy everything close to her on her way to that goal, maybe Meghan, as a liberal ballerina farm type mama, will do her good after all. Or I'm giving her too much credit. The jury is still out on that one. You like my Suits reference?
Great reference.
Thanks so much for watching today's episode. If you want more content like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video if you enjoyed it. And last but not least, if you want more content, you can follow me on X and Instagram. Thanks so much and have a great day.